looking at a single structure with a very thick muscular layer. Ayan, look at that. Nalala niyo yung ureter, parang ureter. Kaya lang ito, very thick wall. Just a single structure with a very thick wall, you know you are in the vas deferens. So, again, if you look at the line epithelium, it's still pseudostratified columnar, as said, with some stereocilia. With some stereocilia, and of course we still see spermatozoa within the lumen of your organ. Okay? Bakit may spermatozoa pa rin? Remember, the vas deferens will transport your sperm cells from the epididymis to the next structure, which is your ejaculatory duct. So these are still sperm cells. This is your line epithelium with some stereocilia. Now, regarding this muscle layer is of 3 sublayers. No? Your tunica muscularis is of 3 sublayers, inner longitudinal, middle circular, outer longitudinal. So quite thick. We will not ask you to identify which is inner, which is middle, and which is outer. Sufficient to say that there are 3 layers of muscle tissue, smooth muscles at that, and the outermost layer again is of course tunica adventitia. At this point, this is tunica adventitia, in contrast to the female, which is usually lined by tunica serosa. Okay, so this is tunica adventitia. Of course, you find here blood vessels, lymphatics, and nerves. The next slide is slide number 70. Okay. When you see this organ, this is one seminal gland. From here to here, that's one gland. Another one here. Kinat lang siya, no? So this is one seminal vesicle gland. What are you reminded of when you see this? Anong kamukha? Fallopian tube, correct. Now, how is it different from your fallopian tube? You remember the fallopian tube is thrown into folds, correct? Here, instead of being just a single fold, we instead have primary, secondary, and tertiary folds. In other words, your mucosal infolding it branches out, no? Nag-branch po. So like for example, here, this one, look at this. Let's look at this under low power. Okay, very good. Now starting from the base, this is what you call your primary fold. And when it branches out, like this one here, then you form a secondary fold. And when it branches out again, then that is what you call a tertiary fold. Okay? So your mucosal infoldings, hindi lang simple infolding, but it actually forms 3 infoldings: primary, secondary, tertiary branching. Now, if you examine the mucosa of this infoldings, again, you'll see it's lined by pseudostratified columnar epithelium. Pseudostratified columnar. Okay? So, yan po. Now, do not forget that this is a gland. It has secretions, mainly fructose, for the nutrition of your sperm cells while they are waiting in the vas deferens, because the vas deferens is just beside the seminal vesicle. Okay, so these are now the mucosa. This is your lining epithelium. This is, of course, lamina propria. Okay. On the other hand, you only have two layers of muscles. You have your inner circular, outer longitudinal layer of smooth muscle. Right? And of course, if you can still see, you will have your tunica adventitia. Right? So this is now your seminal vesicle. Do not forget, it's actually different from your fallopian tube in that this one has more complicated mucosal folds. Okay, so yung amina, do not forget, this is pseudo-stratified, whereas the fallopian tube is simple columnar. Okay? Now, the next slide, you'll not miss this. This is slide the next slide is slide 72, which is your prostate gland. Now, the prostate gland is usually described as a fibromuscular structure. Fibromuscular gland. There you go. You can easily see the fibers, and there are smooth muscles also in this gland, fibromuscular. Now, what is characteristic are the cavities. We call the cavities alveolus, singular. Alveolus. Plural, of course, alveoli. Another thing that you will notice within the alveolus are these structures within. This is the characteristic feature of your prostate gland, the presence of concretions, or specifically your prostatic concretions. There you go. Other name, otherwise called as your corpora amylacea. Corpora amylacea, or your prostatic concretions. Okay? Now again, if you examine the line epithelium, line epithelium of your alveolus, this is still pseudostratified columnar. Pseudostratified columnar. That will be the lining of your alveolus. Okay? So again, if you look at the substance, fibrous, quite fibrous, there you go. And you might find smooth muscles in between. Okay, no? Muscles, right? So this is the picture of your prostate gland. Most importantly, you find there your prostatic alveolus. Let's go look at it again in low power. Prostatic alveolus. There you go. And of course, your prostatic concretions, otherwise known as corpora amylacea. Last slide is 71. Now, this is the penis, of course. You've seen the penis before. And this is actually the upper portions of the penis. We identify here the two corpora cavernosa. This is one corpus cavernosum. This is the other corpus cavernosum. Note the blood vessel for each. This is one, this is another one. So these are your corpora cavernosa. Ano ba to? Dapat ba to dorsal o ventral? Are these dorsal or ventral? Dorsal. Very good. And of course, on the ventral aspect, this is your corpus spongiosum. This is corpus spongiosum. Okay, and it is within the corpus spongiosum again that we find your penile urethra. Diba? Naalala nyo? And what is the lining epithelium of your penile urethra? Anong lining na to? Naalala nyo? Ang lining natin, if you remember, it ranges from stratified to pseudo-stratified columnar pareil. So the lining epithelium at this level. Now just to complete the review, again, do not forget to look for your lacunae of Morgagni. There you go. Yan po. So this is the thing that you have to look for in this slide. And if you remember, we have another, oh by the way, these are glands. Yung po nasa labas na yan, these are glands. Now, the other one that I'd like to show you is the penile urethra at the area where it is about to go out. Ano nga ulit supposed to be ang line epithelium dito? Ha? Naalala niyo pag malapit ng lobas ang urethra, ano na lining nito? Gawin lang natin clearer. Lagay ko sa low power. Yan, i-recognize nyo na yung lining na to when it is about to go out of the body. Ha? Uy, di pa rin makilala? Stratified, squamous, non-keratinized epithelium. Now, another thing we'd like to look for here are these glands. Mas maganda po ang itsura ng glands natin dito. These are your urethral glands, otherwise known as your Litter's glands. Yeah. Litter's glands or your urethral glands. There you go. Okay. So those are the things we'd like you to study for today.